Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where that was very weird. I clicked start recording on OBS, and then it was like, please make sure OBS like videos haven't been blocked or something, and it failed to start. And I went, what does that mean? But no. Yeah, we're just recording as per usual. I've got my entire backlog ready. Because I will not be here from well, actually, to be fair, I'm still here on the Thursday. It's just I will not have time to be able to record because I will be immediately going on to a flight that evening. But good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:09 PM on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. So after this, I'm going to be doing a little bit of packing, just making sure I get most of my items sort of laid out of what I'm going to bring. I've thought about it. I've got like a general idea. I think, so I'm not gone for too long. I'm gone for, let's see, Thursday evening, which basically doesn't count, like Thursday and the Tuesday will probably, share a thing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that's 5 days, essentially. And fortunately for this time, I've got a bit more space, I suppose, to actually bring things. Because last time I travelled, I only had like a small backpack. This time I've got like an actual overhead cabin bag and a small backpack as well. So there should be plenty of room to actually bring stuff in. What I'm actually going to bring is, like what container, that's the wrong word, but like, receptacle, that's the same word, that's just a synonym. I'm going to use, I'm not really sure, I need to figure out which one that is. But yeah, the only thing I've got left to do, I suppose, is actually like title all these different videos I've got, which honestly is significantly easier than you might think. Patrick's Parabox is actually a lot easier than I expected to title because it's literally just maths terms, and fortunately I do know a lot of maths terms, or ones which can be kind of relevant. Nine Souls also pretty easy. I just literally take a concept in English and then just translate it into Chinese, which is unfortunate because I don't even put the tones on. So it's probably very obscure how you even read it, but so be it. And then 1,000 times this is also very easy. I literally just pick a quote. So this might be the easiest series I've ever had to title. In the history of the channel, sometimes it can be pretty difficult. Like the Talos Principle one's got really difficult because I was trying to do like philosophical and or religious terms, and then because the series is so long, I ended up really running out of them. Excuse me. And when I did Talos Principle 2, I don't know how I didn't repeat any words or phrases, but maybe I did repeat them. Honestly, I don't remember at this point. Yes. So, what else to really talk about? I'm not really sure. What should we talk about today? You know what was an interesting thing happened today? Actually, is that interesting? No, not. I'm just like, that's actually the most boring thing ever. Is that what I'm going to talk about? No, I was going to talk about Amex cards weren't working. Specifically through, well, I mean, I guess the interesting thing is more like an AWS, which went down. Like, I don't remember when or something, and it ended up causing a lot of issues, probably for people. If you don't know what AWS is, it's Amazon. I was gonna say warehouse. That's not right. Web services, which. It's something like computational servers, platforms, something like that. Services in general. How do we describe it? I'm not sure how best to describe it. Cloud computing services. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, which is something a lot of people use because it basically how would I describe it? It's like you could, if you need to run something as a business, and you don't need like a physical computation, like you don't need like a physical server or computer for it, you don't need it like on-prem, you can use AWS essentially to do so. right, to run it. So there's about 1 billion things hooked up to this, and it went down. I can't remember exactly when. Let me see. When it went down, the crash called. Okay, well that's an interesting title. I didn't really realise that. 20th of October, so yesterday. Multiple services went down in North Virginia. And it was interesting. Because a lot of things cause issues, and it turns out a lot of things end up being linked to it. Which makes sense because it's a service which a lot of companies, a lot of services link up to in ways that you probably don't even realise. And there's a huge chain of like software things which end up happening. You know, like things which may use AWS might be things that you've never heard of because they work on like a business-to-business service standpoint. Like they never really trickle down to the end user. But then there's other services which you probably do use, which might rely on them or something. I don't necessarily know off the top of my head because I'm not that deep into that sort of sphere. But like this title right here is very interesting. Apparently, is that $2,000 smart beds were overheating and were stuck upright. I didn't even know there were smart beds, mind you. But that's, well, interesting, shall we say. You know, there's a lot of advent of like smart technology or things which don't really need to be smart, IMO. And I think that just may or may not be the biggest one of them all. What do you need a smart bed for? You know, I do say that, and maybe it's sort of like, oh, there's actually a great reason for it, and people, you know, do it and be like, oh, yeah. This is a fantastic reason to have smart wars. This is smart bed. Sorry, I was in a Discord, and I saw Guild Wars, and I was like, oh, smart wars, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. What are you saying? Yeah. But I don't know what I can or even would say about that to follow up. Like, it's... There is this big meme of a thing where it's like, oh, you know, about 1 million things held up by the one random old antiquated software from like 15 years ago, 25 years ago or something. What does that mean? It's KCD blocks meme. Oh yeah, there you go. All modern digital infrastructure held up by what projects some random person in Nebraska has been frantically maintaining since 2003. It's just like, when a lot of things are dependent on one source thing, a lot of things can end up breaking in rather spectacular fashion. In ways which I don't think necessarily are as obvious, but yeah. So, I don't know. The reason I talk about it is because it ended up being about Amex, somehow, in some way, which people wonder if it's because of AWS services. I don't actually know because I don't know if it's confirmed, but specifically Amex cards on Android phones using Google Pay were not working on London Underground services for the past day. Which is certainly very interesting. Like, how does that even happen? I don't know. There's probably some very long chain of services which go back, and at some point with verification uses AWS. Maybe. Again, I'm speaking randomly, not actually knowing if that's the case or not. These are all assumptions, shall we say. But it's something I saw people talking about, and I was like, oh, you know, I didn't even know that was happening. The cause or effect of that might be the fact that there's a thing in the TFL where basically, if you don't know how a London Underground works, is you generally tap on when you start your journey, you tap off to end your journey. What ended up happening with me today is I tapped on using my Amex card and it worked fine, but when I tried to tap out, it didn't work. And when I went up to the person who was working there, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, can you help me? Like, I don't know why this isn't working. And then he was like, oh, it hasn't been working since Sunday. And I was like, and he was like, use a different card. And I was like, but I tapped on with my Amex card. Am I not going to get fully charged? And he was like, no, you didn't. Use another card. And I went, oh. And then I was like, maybe I didn't. But then I started reading other people's experience about like, oh yeah, the same thing happened to me, and they just said like, if you get full charged, basically you have to complain about it. You can dispute it, and because I suppose it's happening to everyone, they should probably be expecting it. But then I was thinking about it afterwards, I was like, what was up with that TFL employee, you know? Of course I didn't know that was happening. You think? And then to so adamantly be like, no, you didn't use that card. So I don't know. Like, hold on, let's see. Has that TFL charge gone through yet? Because it's a thing, if you don't know, where if you just tap out on a journey in the TFL thing, they don't know how much you spent. And you will be charged essentially the full maximum price you could be charged for that day. Which, to be fair, it's not like a huge amount. I think the daily fare is like 50, it caps at like £15 or something. Let's see, TFL daily cap. I mean, it might be completely wrong about that, by the way. Yeah, one day anytime is around £15-16, which, you know, granted my actual fare is not too much higher than that, I think, a lot of time. But the thing I'm mainly worried about is because I tapped on with an Amex card and I tapped off with a different card, of course. Am I going to get double charged, essentially? Am I going to be basically paying £30? I don't know. Because let's see, well, my TFL travel charge this day was £12. This day was £13. I don't know why it's more on that day. This day is £11. I don't know what's going on. Different every day. So I honestly actually, you know, hit the cap sometimes quite quickly. Because I do a lot of travelling. But yeah, it's interesting. So it's not going to affect me too much unless they double charge me, in which case maybe I'll just be like, well, I'll still probably be like, hey, come on, don't do that. Obviously, that worker was just like fed up with it, probably got about 1 million questions that day. Why they didn't just put a sign up? I don't know. Why they didn't put a sign up being like, Amex doesn't work through Google Play, use a physical card? I don't know, because that feels like that would be the easiest suggestion to me. But anyway, it's interesting seeing basically how many sort of services and things are all linked together inextricably. And the failure of one causes multiple chain failures down the line. Certainly a lot of pressure on whatever the core services are in the first place. Like, that's a thing where, like, Google, I can't remember, Google something went down, right? Oh, no, what was the one that Google had about, like, the data leak, where they accidentally just, like, wiped an entire database or something? And caused, like, huge amounts of data loss. Because there was something where, like, I remember a company, like, signed up with them, but then very smartly made an entire backup before, like, not relying completely on Google or whatever services to hold their data. Then that thing happened with failure and they could restore everything because they made a backup. Always make backups. Because you won't need them probably 99% of the time. But 1% of the time you need them, you really need them. is my answer to that. And if you want to be super secure about it, you know, you have like multiple backups. They always have like 3 backups, like 2, like one your actual thing, 2 being like a cloud based backup, and the third being like a physical backup of some kind. Should I say in practical purpose you need to do that every single time? No, probably not. For the average person, that's probably quite excessive. But on the other hand, it's sort of like, well, if that's working and you want to be extra secure, why not? So yeah, I don't know. Let's read more about this. AWS operational issues, multiple services. I don't know, like, where's the best way to read about this? Is AWS down? Down detector, Amazon Web Services in the last 24 hours, let's see. Is it back up? Probably. Snap isn't working, Ring isn't working, wow. What on earth is going on in these comments? Service health. Multiple servers. Increased error rates and latencies. I wonder what happened. Because these sort of things are things which, like, you don't hear about. Because they sort of chug along and work, usually, for a while. And then suddenly, when it happens, everything just sort of kicks off. Like, everything goes down. And it's a huge pain for everyone. That's normal. I'm just going to see like discussions in Reddit. Amazon, Snapchat, Roblox back online after global internet outage. I wonder what the biggest global internet outage is. Like, what's that thing? Google servers down. It was back in like 2024 or something, was it? Was it 2024? Google services outage. 2 in 2022, that was it. Maybe, I don't know. There's a big one. Calendar outage? That's not what I was thinking of. There was something where the outage went down for a huge amount and we were like, whoa, what happened? Because I remember, oh yeah, YouTube went down as well, right? May 2023, is this what I was thinking about? YouTube TV, I don't know. Google Maps went down. Like, these sort of things, it's crazy when they actually do go down because you obviously won't notice it, but like they say, you know, IT, I guess this isn't really IT, this is, you know, dependent, I suppose, on the actual software, but maintenance, I suppose, and these sort of things is a rather thankless job because when it works properly, people are just like, oh, what do you even like do here? What do you even contribute? And when it goes down, it's like, how could you let this happen? Thankless, some would say, in many different aspects of a word. And I certainly don't envy the people who had to deal with a situation. Oh no, is my mouse got my double click problem back again? Do I have to up the refresh rate of it again? So yeah, I certainly don't envy the situation people find themselves in if they're like one of the ones who have to like fix it. I should have used red for thumbnail art today, but whatever. Yeah, it's it must be a scary thought. Like, imagine, I think the scariest thing, not say that I haven't had experience with having to like emergency firefight or something, when something goes down, which is like that's sign off work or something, it's weekend or whatever, Friday, boom, something big happens, big catastrophe. Oh no second, Tom Scott, as he says. Certainly has happened in the past. It's never fun. It's never fun when you're certainly the one to cause it. Luckily, I've never caused anything that big, yeah, I think. But it's inevitable part, I think, of these sort of things. I certainly have stories. I'm not gonna like go into them. I suppose obviously that's like confidential stuff, but certainly some big things have happened and caused lots of problems. And I can't imagine the sort of heart palpitations you might have if you ever want to cause it, you know. So I don't know what caused this AWS outage, but whoever it is must be feeling very terrible at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, discussion, shares greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. So I was just looking at something. Bye bye for now.